Welcome to the Anywhere office.
Hey, Phil Montero from theanywhereoffice.com, and I want to show you some step-by-step instructions on how you can use your Gmail account to send mail, but send mail instead of the from address showing your actual Gmail account, you can actually send from any other domain that you have. So for example, I have a number of different domains and all of my mail flows into Gmail. I use it as a central inbox that way. But you can actually set it up so that instead of sending and using your whatever @gmail.com address, you can actually send mail as your default address or reply to individual emails from the domain that the email actually came into. So for example, I use @theanywhereoffice.com, phil@theanywhereoffice.com, and if mail comes into there, then when I reply to that mail or when I send a new mail, create new mail, I have that as my default address, I send mail from phil@theanywhereoffice.com. even though I'm using Gmail. So let's take a look at how you make that happen. As you can see over here, I'm philmontero@gmail.com, but I don't really want to send mail from that address. Instead, when I use Gmail, I have a number of email accounts that all come into here, and I want to be able to send mail from my other domain, for example, theanywhereoffice.com, phil@theanywhereoffice.com. So the first thing you're going to do in order to do that is click the settings button in the upper right here. Now this is different than if you're using Google Apps for your domain. If you've done that, you've already mapped your domain to Google and you'd be using it that way. But that's really useful if you have a larger company and a lot of people that are going to have email addresses. But I have found it's very easy to just use your plain vanilla Gmail account and just get your domain working in there. And you'll notice when you go to settings here, there's a number of options here in the menu, and what you want to go to here is accounts and import. And we're going to click on that. And right here, the second option here says send mail as. And you can see I have a number of different email addresses here. All of these come into my Gmail account. I use it as my one central mailbox. And then when I send mail, I can send from any one of these addresses. My nowist.org, my musicisland.com, theanywhereoffice.com, Montero Consulting, any of these. So all you need to do if you want to set up one or more multiple domains in Gmail is to click this button that says send mail from another address. When you click that, the box will open up here, this dialog box, and you type your name the way you want it to appear, and in here you would type the email address. So for example, I'm going to type in, I'm just going to put info@musicisland.com, which is another one of my addresses. But you would type in your primary email then. Then you would click next step. At this point, it asks you, how do you want to send your outgoing mail? Do you want it to go through Gmail, which is easy to just keep set up that way, or do you want to send through your own SMTP or outgoing servers? Only downside to going through Gmail is that some people that see it from Outlook, it might show your main domain, but then also say sent from and put your Gmail account in there. I've only found that to be true of Outlook, but the easiest way is to keep it send through Gmail. So let's just keep it that way for now. You click next step, and at this point it wants to send a verification, and you'll click the send verification button here, and I'm not going to do that at this point, but you would click send verification, and basically it would send you an email to this address. Again, mine's info@musicisland here. If you had whatever address you put in, it would send a verification code, and there would either be a numeric code in there or a link, both, that you could click so that it just proves to Gmail that yes, you indeed own that email address. And once you authenticated that, you verified that by clicking on that, I'm just going to click cancel, then suddenly it would take you back to this screen and you would see your address show up here. And then once you're in here, you can then choose what you want your default address to be. So when I send mail from Gmail, I want it to come from phil@theanywhereoffice.com. So all I did was click the make default option, as you see here, next to that one. Make default. Now it says default because I've already done that. Because I have multiple email addresses that come in, I also check this option down here. When receiving a message, reply from the same address the message was sent to. And the beauty of that means that, again, this is when I'm in Gmail. If someone sent a message to phil@musicisland.com and I was to hit reply in Gmail, it would automatically reply from phil@musicisland.com. And the same thing here. If someone sent it to phil@ycwfa.com and I hit reply, it would reply from that address. So Gmail decides for me. If not, I could say always reply from my default address, which means no matter where they were emailing me, I'd always be replying as phil@theanywhereoffice.com. But I prefer it to be seamless and work from whatever email address they sent me. So those are the steps to do this. And there's kind of another video that I'm going to be putting along with this, which is how to get your Gmail synced up with your iPhone or your iPod Touch. And this is the first step that you need to do in order to do that. So if you're just using Gmail and you want to send from your own domain, hey, these are the steps. If you want to be able to send from your own domain on your iPhone or iPod Touch, this is the first step. And then check out my other video where I'm going to show you how to configure that on the iPhone side so that when you send and receive mail on the iPhone, it's also doing the same thing but syncing along with Gmail. So check it out.